Hello, you're welcome back to my channel. So I'll be showing you how to make a turtleneck today. I would like to show you two ways that you can achieve this. Okay, now before you do a turtleneck, you will cut your basic neck such that it won't be too loose. Okay, so I will advise that when you're cutting your neck width, your neckline, it should be 2.5 inches depth and 2.5 inches width. That's where you have the desired circumference that is not too big and not too small, okay, for you to make the collar. And for the turtleneck, it has to be fitted, it doesn't have to slap. So now for the first method, I'll first of all rule a line. I'll rule a line here, and then this is the dress that I want to insert the turtleneck. So I'll first of all measure it round the neckline. I'll measure it from the notch I had here, so I'll measure it all around to the next notch. To the next notch I have 20 inches, so that's what we'll use. That's the circumference for the neck. So dividing that 20 inches by 2, I have 10 inches. So I have 10 inches for as half of the neckline because I'm cutting this down full. So I'll measure 2 inches, from this edge. I'll measure 2 inches inwards. And from there, I'll bring the cuff part of my pattern master and place it like this. I'm following this way. And then from that 2 points, I'm drawing a curve like this. So it's on that curve now that I'll place my 10 inches. So starting from here, I'll take it round this curve. And this is where my 10 inches is. So at that point, I'll measure the height of the collar that I want. So I can use 2 inches. I like to use 2 inches. I'll draw a straight line to meet this point, and I'll curve it like this. So this second one now, the basic of the neck is 15 to 16 inches. That's if you don't want it too tight. So dividing that by 2, I have 8 inches. So I'll measure up to 8 inches. This is where the 8 inches stops. So I'll connect it like this, and that's the turtleneck. So cutting this out now. So I'll be using this sequence fabric to make this. So like I said, I'll cut it on fold. So if I bring my paper like this, I'll make sure this part aligns very well on this, and I'll add 1/2 inch, okay, all round. Okay, so I've added 1/2 inch around it, so I'll just cut it out. So I have this. So this is what it looks like. So now if this is to be a collar stitch, you just gum it to the fabric and then you cut 1/2 inch all around. So then, because this is a sequence, I won't want to use this part so it won't give discomfort to the skin. Okay, so I'll get a plain fabric, perhaps that fabric that I used to make the dress, and then use it to turn this. Okay, this is how far I've gone with the collar. So for the sequence, I made a kind of lining for it from the same fabric I'm using for the lace, so it will be thicker, and then I have a facing for it, okay, a lining for it. This is how it goes. So now first of all, I'll get the midpoint of the two of the main collar and then the facing. So I'll notch the midpoint, same with the lining. On the neckline of the dress, I'll take the shoulder, I'll bring the two shoulders together and then get the midpoint from here. I'll notch it. First of all, bring this, the main collar, take the midpoint to the midpoint of the dress neckline and pin it. And then I'll sew it all the way to the back and this way too. And now when I insert that necktie, I will use this lining to turn the neck. Alright, so it will just be a facing for me, and then I will tap it to the end. For the second method, I will show us how to do the other type of finishing. For the second method of making a turtleneck, I like to cut it on this fabric. So assuming this is your shoulder line, I'll get my neckline first. I'll measure 2.5 inches width and 2.5 inches depth. I'll curve that out. And then for your shoulder slope, I'm using 8 inches for half of the shoulder, and I'm going down with 1 inch at the 8 inches, so that will be for my shoulder slope. And I'll quickly get my arm curve using 8 inches. Okay. I already have a tutorial on how to draft a basic bodice, so I want to quickly go through this so we'll have a clear understanding of what I'm doing here. So getting that, so I'll just use this for the width and then cut this out. This is the front bodice. So I've gotten the front bodice. I'll just quickly get the back bodice as well. So I'll fold this. For the back bodice, I'll need to draw a line here because the back bodice will have to be 1 inch higher than the front bodice. So, and then I'll leave 1 inch here as the zip allowance. Okay, so this is just for the tutorial, so I'll bring in here the front bodice, placing it like so. And following this slope, I'll get my 1 inch higher, okay, than the front bodice. Now for the neckline, the back neckline, I'll just bring it down like so, and I'll go down here with 1.5 inches. 1.5 inches, and then I'll curve that. Okay. Then the arm curve will be 1/2 inch wider. So I've gotten the front and the back body, so I'll quickly join the mid back, and then I'll use 1/2 inch to join the shoulders. I've joined the shoulders, so I'll bring the neckline together like this. I'll bring the shoulder seams together. And then this for the front, okay. So you can notch the midpoint, and then you have the joining at the back. So for the back neckline, I'll measure it from the back center line, from the back center seam, and I'll measure it to where we have the shoulder seam. So that's 3 inches for the back neckline. And then for the front, I'll measure it from the shoulder seam. I'll measure it to the midpoint here, and we have 4 inches. So after getting the neckline measurements for the back and for the front, I'll bring in my hard gum stay. Now this is a hard gum stay, you can use collar stays. So I've made this unfold already. So now I'll just draw a line. I'll just draw a line this way. Now this will be for the front and this will be for the back. For the front we had 4 inches, so I'll measure 4 inches. I'll measure 4 inches, and for the back we had 3 inches, so I'm measuring 3 inches forward again. Now that's for the back. So for the front here, I'm going upward with ½ inch. Okay, with ½ inch, and I'll slant it to meet the measurement we have for the front. Okay, so now I will measure the height of the collar. Now you can use 1 inch, 1.5, 2 inches, it depends on what you want. So I like to go with 1 inch, and then I'll measure it 1 inch all the way to the back, back measurement. After that, I'll just quickly join the dots. So with this now, we are cutting out our collar. So this our collar. Okay, so I'll place it on the fabric, and then I'll go into the fabric, leaving ½ inch all round. Okay, and then I'll have it facing as well. Cutting it on fabric, and I have the ½ inch all the way around. Okay, now note that this is the down part. This is the part that will sit on the neckline. So I will take it to the machine and sew this ½ inch very close to the stay. I'll sew ½ inch all the way around and then turn it inside out. So I've sewn the ½ inch and then I will turn it inside out. Make sure you get your corners. So I've turned it to the other side, and then I'll have to top stitch this part. Note, you top stitch the part, you're top stitching the part that doesn't have the stay. Okay. So I have it top stitched and ironed, and the next thing I'll just get the midpoint. Notch it. And then you bring in your neckline. I've already notched the midpoint at the front. Now the one with the stay will be the one facing outwards. So we first of all start with the back side. I'll take the midpoint of the collar to the midpoint of the neckline and pin it. So first of all, use ½ inch to sew it all the way to the back, and then both sides. Okay, and we'll come back and I'll take it to the ironing board and iron this ½ inch inwards. Okay, so far this is what I have. I've ironed in the ½ inch that I said, and so we'll just fold this inwards. Okay, make sure it covers the seam that you already have. Okay, and then you sew it down to this other end as well. Ironing it. Okay, I've turned it. Okay, and ironed. This is what we have. Okay,